hello and welcome to Plugging Along, a stream dedicated to LOTRO plugins. Last time on Plugging Along, we started preparing Festival Buddy 2 for the next festival, Farmers Faire 2026, and it's here. So today we're going to continue to add as much as we can before we put out a release and let other people get their hands on what we've been working on. So, as always, feel free to jump into chat with your thoughts and questions, and in the meantime, let's go ahead and share my desktop. Boop. Cool. So, actually, before we get into that, let's pull up our source control and just get a sense what's going on here. Added great Matham fishing swap. I've been making lots of changes recently, and I didn't have everything checked in here. All right, that's debug stuff. This is debug stuff. Debug, or actually problems with my alts. Debug, problems with my alts, and great. Okay, that's all debug stuff. So we added the great Matham fishing swap. Little Redhead convinced me that that was a good idea. So what have we been doing since the last week? Well, we did an initial commit of a Farmers Faire quick guide. So let's take a look at that. All right, so Festival Buddy 2. We're going to go ahead and load it up, and I'll just close that for right now. When it first loads, you get a little icon like this in the middle of your screen. I'm just going to click and drag it to somewhere else to be more useful. So this is the Festival Buddy 2. Let's go ahead and put it into Farmers Faire mode, and then go ahead and pull up the quick guide. So this is a quick guide. It's going to guide you through a festival quickly. The target audience for Quick Guide are people who already know the festival pretty well. Maybe not every quest 100% forward and backwards, but already have had a chance to discover all the fun there is in the festival, and are now kind of just trying to speed run it on multiple characters, possibly multiple servers, for tokens or experience or whatever. So they're not looking to squeeze the joy out of every word of every quest. They're just looking to hit their quest objectives as fast as is reasonable. So that's the target for the quick guide. So if you don't already know Farmers Faire, the quick guide's not going to, I don't think it's for you. It's not really enhancing your experience of the festival. Do that manually, read the quest guides, figure everything out for yourself. That's all great. And then once you're ready to speed it up, or just do it on autopilot, or just have something tracking that you did the things, so if you aren't sure what you missed, maybe you have a sense of what's going on. Okay, so we have a quick guide. Bonus tool reminder window. Great. So when you take a sunny, fair day, there's going to be an option available for you, and these are off by default. Festival Buddy's not doing anything clever, but it is a per server. Warn if bonus item missing at start of quick guide, and reminder to return bonus item. Well, that's a typo. Let's go fix that real fast. So we're going to go into strings, bonus item, reminder return bonus item at end of quick guide. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and refresh that. So reminder return bonus item at the end of quick guide. So bonus item, what does that mean? There are a couple of items that you can get. One's from, I think, Before the Shadow, the Ultimate Collector's Edition, and one from Fate of Gundabad, and there could be some other ones. These are the three I know about. So the Fateful Toolkit says, grants bonus festival and landscape wallet barter tokens when equipped. Specifically, plus 10% festival and landscape through Gundabad. And so that means if you get X number of tokens by default, multiply that by 1.1 and then round up to the nearest whole number, and that's what you actually get. There's also the Flowing Silverstone and Flowing Silverstone of the Tortoise. Same thing, 10% wallet barter tokens, landscape through Western Gondor. So it doesn't the landscape bonuses don't last for as long, but they also come with stats. Whereas the Fateful Toolkit, this is just on your toolkit. Imagine you could have both. Wonder what happens if you have both. Anyway, so if you have this option equipped, but you pick up the quest without one of those equipped, So let's go ahead and accept this. We're going to pop up a little window that says, reminder, equip a bonus token item. Again, only if you turn this on, warn me, and this is per server setting, because these items are bound to account on a server. So if you have it on Peregrine, you always have it on Peregrine, and it's up to you to remember to put it on the right character. This is what that's trying to help. But if you have it on Peregrine and you don't have it on Peregrine, then you would leave the setting off on Peregrine and only use it on Peregrine. I know it's Mariotic. It's funnier as Merrigan. So, reminder, equip a bonus token item, and then it lists the 3 possibilities. We're not doing anything clever at this point, remembering which ones we might have seen you use. We're just, these are the ones we're talking about when we say that. And we are going to actually pay attention. If you equip the item, we'll make the window go away. So let's see that again. And I'm just using a debugging thing to pretend to accept this quest. So we'll go ahead and accept a sunny fair day. Cool. We'll equip the item. It goes away. Now, what if we accept a sunny fair day? We already had the item up. We're going to detect that first and not even bother showing the window. Now, if we complete a sunny fair day, we're going to get the opposite window because we checked both of these. This one says, reminder, return the bonus token item to shared storage. And again, a reminder of what are we even talking about. Now, we're not double checking that you actually put it in shared storage, but as soon as you dequip that item, that you're engaging in the process, we're going to go ahead and hide that window from you. And again, if you complete a setting for a day and you don't have that item equipped, we're not going to say anything. This is only if you have the item equipped until you take the thing out of your inventory. Now, if you do it directly into shared storage, that will cause this to go away. But so will just dequipping it. So if you dequipped it and then forgot it in your inventory, we're not going to be able to, we're not tracking that at this point. But at that point, if you're using something like alt inventory, it is going to be able to see it. So good enough. Okay, so that's that. That's what that change was. Let's take a look at the next one. Support quick add targets. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Reordered some stuff. Added. Oh, the Fat Mayor timer. Yes. Now, whenever you have the Farmers Faire active, similar to the Yule Festival, from tracking the eating contest, we're going to be tracking when the Fat Mayor is available, about to end, not available, and there's wiggle room. There's about 15 seconds wiggle room between the shortest Fat Mayor re-up and the longest, where after he says something, and he's about to say it right here, dear me, it burns, it burns. There's a fixed amount of time, about 20 seconds, where you can actually throw something at him. Then there is a 25-second gap where he will never speak on that layer. And then there's a 15-second gap where somewhere in there he will speak, guaranteed by the end of this gray bar, but sometimes as early as the beginning of the gray bar. And so since this timer is so random from talking to talking instance, it doesn't loop the way the Yule one does. Yule will just keep looping over and over, but that's very useful because it's a much longer timer. Because this one is maximum of 60 seconds. Even if you are away for something, you're going to get a refresh of the timing very fast. He just needs to dab something that was very early in the gray. And we can see that these items are going to disappear in 10 seconds. We'll be able to see them. Actually, no, I think the items stayed. Their glowingness, if you have the quest active, is about to get squelched. Nope, no, they do disappear. Okay. Well, that works too. Okay, so that is the Fat Mayor timer, and then we added the Great Matham Swap. So that's what's going on in our source control directory. So what are some interesting things that we really want to get done? Well, if you are on one of the gathering things quests, let's say a market list, and you mess up, previously that wasn't a concern, but now if you have clicked on things, those items in the quick guide will be gone. And so a couple things. I want to pay attention to failing quests and undo their completed items. And as a parallel to that, I have a note here in a different file. The reset button and the saving and loading don't take the target system into account. And what that means is when you are doing this quest, one of the LOTRO doesn't tell us when we interact with a cabbage or a cheese or an apple or a meat or an onion or what did I miss? Bread. Uh, it there's no quest channel thing to say you picked up a bread or anything like that. And part of that is because it's supposed to be a little bit of a mystery, I guess. Maybe that's why they didn't, and sometimes they just miss that kind of thing. So what we can do is we can tell, well, at least you targeted a cabbage. We don't know if it was the right one, but as long as you don't fail the quest, it was definitionally the right one, and you keep going. So what we're going to do is, because staffing the market has a 15-minute cutoff point, I don't want to do any development where I can avoid it. Until I get this ready for testing. So what we're going to do is we're going to come on in and turn off all the quests we don't care about. And so a market list, a shopping list, a vendor list, these are the three, but we're just going to worry about one of them right now. And the rest of these we're just going to turn off. And that means they're not going to show up in the quick guide list. Great. Okay, so we can see we have objectives to take a market list, to collect things, and to turn it in. Great. So we're gonna test this to the best of our ability. Now, first of all, we do not have a way to simulate a target change, and we're gonna want to do that. So we're gonna want to be able to say cabbage or something and have a target button here, and that tells us that okay, we've targeted the thing. So let's add that feature in first, and then we'll keep going. So support target as a debug quest option. We're going to go ahead and work this right now, so I'm assigning it to myself. I try not to assign issues to me unless I'm actually working on them. In a corporate environment, that's because if someone looks at an issue and sees, oh, someone's assigned to it, then they're going to message me and say, what's the status on this? When will it be done? And if I'm not actually working on it, I have wasted my time and theirs. So better to only have an assignee if someone's working on it. Your corporate environment may vary, but that's a way to do it. One could have more complicated things of in work or blah, 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 but yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at our code, and we're going to come on in. We're just going to close a bunch of windows here. We know that this is in the options window, so we're going to start there. And we know that the options window is pulling from strings to populate these things, except for the debug, it does not. Okay, but we can see that here we are. So let's make another button. And for what it does, we're right now just going to go ahead and say turbine.shell.writeLine. Clicked. And that way we can double check that everything is hooked up correctly without worrying about what is it it's supposed to be doing right now. Now, just giving a sensible name, target, button target. And setting the position is there, and the text is target. Okay, let's give that a shot. I'm gonna go ahead and hide the accessibility window for right now. We can use this icon to summon out the options. Okay, so target, it's starting to go off the edge of the screen. Do I care? Oh, maybe. Okay. Y equals Y plus, I don't know. Button objective get height plus 5. Great. And then here, we'll go ahead and multiply that by 0, and we're good to go. All right, so target's on the next line. I will say, what's going on with Y here? Oh, this is a partial system. Are we not using Hobnanigans Y? Or do I misunderstand something? This looks like I retrofitted in the kind of modular where things are being drawn system, but ideally after each chunk is drawn, it returns where the next chunk should draw. I don't even know if that's ideal. That's just a system I prefer over this one. Okay, but we now have a little bit more space. Great, okay. So target. So if we go ahead and say target, and we're going to go ahead and close our inventory here and move this over here, and target. Great, clicked. So we know that's working. And so what we're going to go ahead and do is figure out what to replace instead of that. So target change. Do we have something like that? We do. We have a filter target. Okay. Target changed. If target, then filter target. Great. And then filter target itself is going to do stuff. If the user is holding down shift while changing targets, we don't want to do that. So we do that, we do that. Great. And then we actually dispatch to the function that handles targeting. So Snapfooty says LOTRO interface has version 231. I have 215. I can't find an update button. Do I have to reinstall? So LOTRO plugins don't have a way to update themselves from inside the game. If you have the LOTRO plugin compendium desktop application, it can take care of doing that for you. If it sees an update, you can select it and click the update button, and it will take care of downloading, extracting, putting files in place. So you can use that, probably. If you are saying you don't see an update button within LOTRO plugin compendium, that's also okay. You can always go over to the LOTRO interface page and just follow the instructions there. Am I not logged in? I am. Okay. Festival Buddy. So from here, if you go ahead and hit the download, you can just follow these instructions. But you're going to unzip the downloaded folder. You're going to get a folder called, unzip the downloaded zip file. You'll get a folder called Keep Plugins there, and you're going to put that into Lord of the Rings Online/plugins. And your operating system will probably say, hey, you're going to overwrite some things. Is that okay? And you say yes. So you can do it manually. I like to do it using the LOTRO plugin compendium, but they both do essentially the same things. LOTRO plugin compendium just does it much faster. So if you have any problems with either of those that you choose to do, Snapfooty says I can't click on anything on the compendium. Well, that's unfortunate. Well, I haven't tried to do that recently, but let's do an experiment. I only have one plugin installed right now. So I'm going to list my interfaces, and I'm going to give some love to one that hasn't had a lot. So we're going to come to Herbalism Helper. You got a quick error message, but you can't see anymore. Well, worst case, exit out of the LOTRO plugin compendium and come back in. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and download an old version of this. Is there an old version of this? That's funny. Okay, we're gonna find a plugin that has had more than one version. Subscriber buffs reminders. We're gonna go ahead and download the 1.0 version and install that manually. So we extracted it. We get a folder that looks like this. Let me go to Documents, The Lord of the Rings Online. In here, we're going to go into Plugins, Cube Plugins, and we can see this Cube Plugins can come over here. And now there's two things, and I didn't have that plugin already installed, so there was no message about it. And if I come into the game, I just have to remember to hit that green arrow button, and now we see a 1.0. Great. So if we go ahead and open up LOTRO Plugin Compendium, whoops, we're going to go ahead and see that subscriber bus reminder has an update. It's got a yellow line. So we're going to click this, check over here, then we're going to click the update button. Update's complete. So if we come back into the game, we'll click our green arrow and we see 101. Perfect. So Snafuti says, problem while retrieving listing, the remote server returned an error 403 forbidden. That is very unfortunate, and that means that LOTRO Plugin Compendium is going to have a problem working on your system. Some people have seen that resolved by using a VPN, which a lot of people don't want to do all the time. But like I said, you can. I guess if you can go over to LOTRO interface yourself manually, then I'm surprised that LOTRO Plugin Compendium is not working. But the process of manually installing one plugin isn't that bad. It's if you're trying to update like 30 of them that it becomes really arduous. So give it a try. Go to lotrointerface.com, manually download one of those files and see if it works in a browser. Because if it does, I guess I'm surprised that LOTRO Companion can't make it work. But there have been some problems with LOTRO interface and network connectivity for other people, so you're not alone in this. And that's the first thing to do is. Somebody says, I think I remember reading about that now. It's been a while since I tried and failed. I think it's a communications problem with Verizon. Yeah, so that could be if you are able to fire up a VPN. Firefox has them for free now, but other places as well. Fire up a VPN and try it again, and maybe you get the same results, maybe not. Although, I guess I'm not 100% sure if the VPN for Firefox applies system-wise or just Firefox. Anyway, Stephanie says, I'm just about to give Verizon the boot. Well, in the meantime, double check if you can download. As I just demonstrated, the process of manually installing these isn't arduous for a single plugin. So you can at least get Festival Buddy up to date, even if you can't do it automatically through Plugin Compendium. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on and come on into our options here, and we do have target, so we're coming into the source control. Pat Riddler says, just bought the last 2 expansions. I've been out for about 3 years. Well, that's about how many expansions have come out since then. Welcome back to the game. Welcome back, especially in time for Farmers Faire. Somebody says, thanks, gotta go, leave for work, thanks again. Well, good luck at work, and message me somewhere if you still have problems. Over on Discord, I'm in the official server if you're not in Cube Plugins or the plugin development server, or on Twitch. I'll see it eventually. Anyway, okay, so we have the choice of what to do, but ultimately, we can't call this function because this interacts with my care directly, but we can go ahead and just call filter target. We can do the next level down. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and call filter target with whatever quest name get text. It's still called quest name because once upon a time that's all this was, but now we're adding more things. That's okay. So we're going to call filter target, and to know that that's worked, we're going to go ahead and just add a little debug, shell the right line, and we're going to say we're in filter target, and we're going to go ahead and call dump on the new target name, and then close that up. And we're doing that. What have I done wrong here? Not concatenating. We're doing that because if you ever have a Boolean value or a nil value and you try to concatenate that into an output string, Lua will complain. And so having a little function that will sanitize things and dump handles tables and Boolean values and nil values in a sensible way just makes it nicer. And in fact, yeah, let's go ahead and unload here and reload, and we'll come in and target, and we can see that we're in filter target, and we have presented a cabbage to the system. And now it will even look correct. Filter target cabbage. Great. So we can now simulate having targeted a thing. So let's go ahead and demonstrate the problem. A market list. We're going to accept that. And apple, we're going to go ahead and target that. Great. Now we're going to pick up brown bread instead of white bread like a fool and fail the quest. Oh no! Notice that we didn't take advantage of resetting this, and we should have. So there's two things in play here. First of all, there's the resetting of the items in the quick list. And second of all, there's an outstanding issue, which is our target list is very ephemeral. And we want to do something about that. So let's come on in. Support target is debug quest option. Oh, let's go ahead and commit that change. So options window. Yeah, we'll include that. We have this and that. And really, that was it. So add target to debug area. Cool. So we're going to go ahead and copy that SHA and push it out. And we're going to say fixed and commit blah. Close. Now, that SHA, we can go ahead, or that hash, we can go ahead and feed it into the edit window here in GitHub, and it will understand that that is referring to an actual thing and add a little hyperlink here that we can see add target to debug area. Cool. So that one is closed. Pay attention to failed requests, undo their completed items. Now, we already have a system for doing this. If we accept a quest, I'm wrong. We should be unchecking things. Let's do a thing here and hide the remove completed items from list here. And then come on in and say, if we complete that, cool, accept it. Okay, so we have a thing where we accept it and we uncheck all the stuff. And so if we go ahead and do hide those, let's go ahead. And then we complete the quest, those are all going to disappear. If we then accept the quest, they're not coming back, and I suspect they are unchecked, but they're not being made visible. Okay, that is its own thing. So track that differently. Accepting a quest unchecks its objectives, but it doesn't unhide them. So let's figure out what's doing that, because that feels like the next thing is this one. So when we accept, we're going to be in the we're going to start by being in the chat logger. So let's go ahead and see. Accept. Okay. Filtering a quest. If this is completing, if this is failing, new quest. Okay. Filter new quest. So if we can come on into the quick guide window and handle accepting this. we're going to handle chain begin or end. Fascinating. All right, what does this do? Objective. Is it begin? Is it end? If it's begin or end, then if it's that, if it's begin, then we have that chain. Of course, chain begin says what chain it begins. Okay. So we are getting the chains from that value. Okay. And then if we do have a chain, boy, it really feels like we should have saved this to a local value or something. That's okay. If we have that, then we're going to go ahead and go through each of these and set the checkbox state. Okay. Tree node. Dan says, good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Squashing Bugs and Fixing Issues for Festival Buddy in Farmers Faire. Okay. So we probably are setting tree node. Wait, is there a filter here? Okay. Yep. Chain is used, so that is in the settings. That's fine. So maybe we're just not updating the filter. I don't know if we need to update the filter. Where were we? Handle beginner end. Yes. Refresh. Yes. Setting check state of. That's tree node checkbox get text. To. And here's where we're going to go ahead and dump the state, because if that's a Boolean, we want to be able to see a reasonable value for it. Okay. So same thing, we're going to go ahead and complete a market list. And we can see that we're setting the check state of these things to true. Great. And then we're going to go ahead and accept a market list. And we're going to go ahead and set the checks of those to false. And then in a different place, this gets checked. Great. So if this is hidden, and we go ahead and complete a market list, if we accept a market list, okay, so what happens with complete? No, that's a different timer. Okay. And says, not noticed any issues with Festival Buddy. What are you fixing this evening? So I am adding a quick guide to the Farmers Fair, and the market list and other quests represent a problem because if you fail these, most quests aren't failable, and in other festivals, you can cancel them to be sure, but a lot of quests aren't failable. And these are, and so we want the items on the quick list to pop back if you fail it, so that you can still have the benefit of the quick guide instead of like, oh, now what? Of course, you could just look at the Festival Buddy UI itself, but yeah, that's what we're looking at. So, when the checkbox is checked changed, quick guide handle checked entry, chain end timer start timer. Okay, so just in here. Okay, so the checkbox itself, we're saying set once updates, and we're looking at the hide time. So then we call preview refresh after we set complete to be true, because complete itself, I'm going to double check that hide time is not used anywhere else. No. So dot complete is used in the filter. Do we not update dot complete? That's probably what we do. Yeah. Tree node dot complete equals state. And that should really be a function to encapsulate both of those. Okay, so tree.complete is completed. Okay. And then where are we setting the check size? Tree node. Oh no. Okay, this is just to not go into the checkbox. Okay. So we're in the quick guide win. Tree node dot that. Tree node dot that. Tree node. Yes. Cheapat in chat. Waves a lighter. Thank you. Hello and welcome. Okay, so what I'm trying to determine is, should we be linking these together? Anywhere else. So here, the tree node.complete checkbox should already have been checked. Here, tree node.complete is set to that, and we're creating the tree node. and we set the checked to that as well. And here we're only looking at the one, not the other. Okay, so we're going to say that that was the issue. Let's go ahead and load it back up and take a look at that. So if we come in and we go ahead and complete that, we accept that. Okay, let's go ahead and remove the completed items from the list. So we complete it. And if we accept it. Okay, now they're showing up again. Hooray! So let's go ahead and get that committed. So is that in the chat logger? It is not. We still have some debug stuff there. Filter target debug. That's a debug. That's a debug. Okay. So we're going to discard those, and we're going to go ahead and accept this. Fixed. Reset quest items not showing back up in tree. So push that out so that we can use its commit hash. Fixed in commit number blah. It's not really a number. I mean, it's kind of a number, but yeah. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and close the issue. Great. So now that that part is good, we want to go ahead and take advantage of our ability to do this. So if a market list, if we go ahead and do all those, and then, oh no, we picked up the soft cheese instead of the sharp cheese, and we fail this. Oh, that's an interesting point. If we fail it, those items should disappear, or should we pull them back? We should pull them back. Okay, so let's minimize that. Let's minimize that. Let's take a look at what happens when we fail. Filter failed quest. Okay. Find selected quest in chat. Clear selected quest. Okay. We also want to pass this on to the quick guide window. Accept. Quest accept. Quest completed. Function quick. Handle quest failed. Okay, so what we want to do is pass that along from the chat logger. I guess it's here. Quick guide handle quest failed, see message. So we're going to do that in parallel with the completed quests and so on. Okay, so what we want to do is just do a quick sanity check to make sure that we hooked everything up correctly. So we're going to come on in, hit fail, and we got the fail message. So we're good to go from here. Okay. Actually, let's see what the message is. Great. Fail. We're going to see failed a market list. I don't think let's go look at the data files and see what we can do with that. Because if we get colon a market list, we can, if we just replaced it, failed with new quest, or yeah. We don't want to introduce a whole new. What does it look like when they failed? Because we do not. This is already overkill. Let's do a little searching. Lua string replace function. I can't remember if this is built into Lua or not, so I'm going to go ahead and take a look. Looks like G sub is available. Is that what Stack Overflow says? Great. So we want to go ahead and in strings, we almost certainly have failed. Great. And so we can swap in the failed text for the new text. Let's play around with that. Convert the fail message to a new quest. Message to a new quest message so we can find the relevant chain. Great. So I'm going to move this up here and we're going to work down here. So what we know is gsub probably returns a string. Gsub. Yes. Okay. So local accept equals gsub string dot. Yep. String dot gsub. And this is going to be working on cmessage. And then the pattern is get string of, we know this is in lang and under quests, failed quest. So get string lang quest failed quest. And we want to replace it with get string of lang dot quests dot accept, no, new quest. So then we're going to go ahead and write it out just so we can see it's working. Fail. So we can see the fail text looks like failed market list, and now we have one that looks like this. So if we have transformed it correctly, we can now take that entry to here and dig in to find the rest of it. So let's figure out how this is being used. Get index from chat. Fascinating. I don't really want an index though, I want the chain. That's okay. We'll write it ourselves. So we know that we're dealing with this. Our local entry equals, and we are going to go ahead and replace that with selected festival, and that with selected quick guide. Great. So we have an entry, and if we have that entry, it's going to be is action index? Oh, it might be an index, in which case, funny. Okay, then that does what I want it to do, probably. Let's play around with that then. Local index equals that, which is going to take the accept, not the actual C message, and this thing. Cool. So we're going to go ahead and just log out that index. We get an index. It's an index of 50. That seems plausible. Great. So we can get the quest chain from this. Local chain equals, oh, that's in here. Fail. Okay. We get an error message, and I forgot to add errors to this channel. Fail. Great. Attempt to index and target. I did in fact forget that. I even made a mental note that I shouldn't forget that, and I did it anyway. Great, so we now have the quest chain, a market list. At this point, we want to make sure all the entries in that chain are unchecked. So, how do we do that? Don't know. Oh, Thayan in chat says, I know they aren't really festivals, but have you ever thought to do something similar to Festival Buddy for crafting events? I had not yet participated in the crafting events. Like the Forester, like the hardtack, I assume you're talking about. And that's a problem for me because my attention for plugins goes mostly to what I am actively doing in the game, which is why during Ill Omens I was strongly compelled to make a skirmish plugin to track all the different banners and other things that you pick up in a skirmish, and it's very difficult to tell what they do just by looking at them. But now that Ill Omens is done, that's going on the back burner. I will think about that more later. In the meantime, yeah, because I've never done them, I don't have a sense of how it would be helpful. But one could imagine, like, there could just be an entry in something like Festival Buddy to add hardtack or forester, and then you just have the quest reference. If that's what you mean, are you talking about having a list of quests and getting a reference and maybe have map information? If that's something that would be useful, that sounds like it could be easily incorporated into something like Festival Buddy. I don't know if it needs to be a part of Festival Buddy or if there could be a I don't know, crafting event buddy. Dan says, okay, that's fair. Yeah, you really need to have something to sustain you during the frustrating parts where the plugin's not working the way you want it to. And if you don't have any connection to the subject material, that's potentially a problem. Okay, so thank you. How do we do this thing that we have said that we need to do? I don't know, but I do know that the reset this quick guide does it. So let's see how it does that. Reset this quick guide. Let's see where this is used in here. All right, clear completed. All right, tell me more. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Well, we know that this function knew how to do it. Oh, no, not that one. Handle beginner end. All right, so we're going through all the nodes, and then if the index of that is there, okay. Function reset tree node. Okay, I think we want to do this. Let's find checkbox at check to make sure we're not doing, what the? Make sure we're not doing that anywhere else. So when we're first creating it, okay. We're setting checked there. When we're marking it complete. Okay, so here, we'll just say set node completion. And in that, we're going to go ahead and say these things. Tree node state. And we should probably preface that with a quick guide because we're doing that pretty consistently with a namespace-like thing. Great, and we can, in fact, move that over here. Okay, and we're marking that node changed there because we know we want to do a refresh if any of them did. Function. Quick guide set chain completion. Great. So we're going to bring in the chain and the state. So more or less all of that, we want to go ahead and yoink and then see if we missed anything. So we have local tree view, we're getting that from a global, node changed, we're tracking that. We're going through each of these. Index, yeah, that's fine. Is chain begin? Is chain begin the same as state? Let's just not conflate those two. Okay, so if we have the chain, the state, and is chain begin, then all of this just works. That means we can say if we have a chain, then quick guide set chain completion with chain, state, and is chain begin. And we can get rid of that now. And that means we should be able to do the same thing here, where we have the quest chain, we have the state false, and is chain begin true. I actually already don't like that that's called that. Should refresh tree. Yes. And we'll use that instead. All right, let's add some block comments. This is a table. This is a Boolean, and this is a Boolean. Comment. Set all members of a chain to completed or not based on state. And then we can go ahead and add one here as well. Tree node is going to be a tree node, and state is going to be a Boolean. Set node to completed or not based on state. Cool. So first of all, let's see if any of this is likely to work. So we go ahead and accept. All that's fine. If we fail it, that didn't work. What if we complete it? Fail. Okay, we're getting a quest chain. I think we're not getting the right chain. Chain equals that. Okay, quest chain key, and then local chain equals quest chain key. Let's try that. Hooray! Cool. So we have a correctly referenced chain now, and then we can set the mark of all of those false. So if we go ahead and we pick this up, and we get the green apple, and we get the white bread, and oh no, we picked up a red onion, we can go ahead and just cancel all of that, as will happen because we will fail the quest. Cool. Let's see what changes we made and get those committed. And again, we have some debug stuff in here that we need to ignore. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of the filter target. Because we know that's working. We're going to go ahead and stage this because we need it. Those are debug stuff. That's debug stuff. Strings. Well, that's just a fix. Here, we'll do that first. Fixed typo. Okay. Here, this is debug stuff. Here, we're sending that to a function, one of these functions, and then handling failed. But we don't want to commit the turbine debug. We can commit that. All right, so it's debug, 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 debug. Great. So support uncompleting objectives for a failed incomplete objectives for a failed quest. Quick guide quest. Okay, we're going to go ahead and push that out and grab that commit hash. Come on into here. Pay attention to the quest under their completed items fixed in commit. Blah. Close. Okay. The reset button and save and load do not take the target system into account. This is harder. So what's the target system? Okay. Let's take a look at this. Target is apparently not defined there. Okay, so the quick guide targets is a relatively new system which was introduced to try to work around the problem of sometimes you interact with the game, you interact with a quest item, you pick something up, maybe a cabbage, and the game does not tell you anything in an observable location for a chat channel, which plugins can see. For instance, if you advance the Great Madam Fishing Swap quest, first you pick it up, it's a new quest, and then if you talk to her again, it says, time to fish for Madams. Great. We can see that, and we can account for it. And when you don't have something like that, we make up a different way. So with cabbage, for instance, we just say, hey, if the player touches a cabbage, if they target a cabbage, good enough. But we don't have a way to undo this. We don't have a way to reset this. We don't have a way to persist this out in a saved manner so that if we unload the plugin and reload, we start back there. So that's what's up with that. And so quick guide progress, I feel like, is persisted in some way. Oh no, that's different. All right, let's see what happens when we reset. So we're going to come into the quick guide window and look for that reset message, which is going to do a window clear completed, and that is going to go to the quick guide progress. So settings, quick guide progress, let's take a look at that. Quick guide progress, pretty straightforward. What does it look like? Great question. Glad you asked. Let's go ahead and check those off and then open up the equivalent file. Let's go ahead and unload so it saves. And then we're going to go ahead and pull open a text editor, come on in to plugin data, and coming into here, this character, and coming into the settings. And there's a couple things, which quick guides quests do we use, and the quick guide progress here. And we can see that each of these entries is marked as true. That means they are done, and none of the other entries are marked as true. Why are there 4 of them? Maybe these are the ones that are not done? Well, I guess I should understand how this works. Okay, let's go ahead and search for just things that are spelled exactly like this. We don't care about upgrade systems. Okay, so is it completed? It is not nil. Okay. Set it completed, set it to true. Unset it, set it to nil. And clear all progress, go ahead and just empty the table. So none of those indexes are persisted. Great. That's how I thought it worked. So what on earth is number 150 whatever? 115. Because I'm sure guessing it's going to be easier if I just copy that somewhere else. $115 is a sunny fair day and really? Yeah, I suppose so. Okay. Well, just for fun. Okay, great. So just the ones we were thinking of, and nothing else. Oh, Sunny Friday. Yeah, okay. So, um, what we don't have is a way to persist out which of these targets have been targeted at an appropriate time. And what we're currently doing, I'm almost certain, is just writing it into this table, which is not great because this table doesn't get written out. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so we get our targets, and then for each thing that's there, blah 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 blah, target dot done equals true, and that's what is causing us problems. So what we need is target, something about this target. We need the corresponding index here to be stored in globals somewhere. So what that would probably look like is just like this. Quick guide targets. We'll just have a little entry for each of these. And then what we could do is nope. Settings, quick guide targets, selected festival, selected quick guide, and this is going to be target.index equals true. Right now, we're just going to put it parallel to this. So target.done, we're going to say this equals that. Okay, what else is doing done? Not sure I understand what that's doing. Yeah, but we do know that this is getting called from here. That's great. Okay, so that's probably correct. Let's, or at least minimally correct. Let's go ahead and do this. Unload to log out. Great. So now we should have quick add targets. Great. And if we go ahead and do some targets, and we're going to go ahead and emulate that with onion target. Oh, actually we need to have market list, accept, and then apple target. That's not good. Why didn't it work? Try one more time. Market list. We've accepted this. Great. Apple. Is it called something else? Can't be. What went wrong? Well, let's go ahead and unload that and reload that and come in here. Okay, Farmers Faire is not writing that out. Quick add targets. Well, for one thing, sure do have to not remove important parts of logic. Target. There we go. Apple has been targeted. Bread, we're going to go ahead, well, we'll stay out of order. Onion, we're going to go ahead and target that. And then we're going to go ahead and unload and check out. Yes, these are now listed here. So what that means is target.done. We can get rid of that. We can get rid of that. And then I do have to ask, what's up with this? If the objective table, okay. Yes. This is misnamed. That's what it is. It's not actually called from there, oddly enough. Okay. Which tables, if any, can that be a part of it? Because this could just be outdated. Let's go look at quick guides here. Okay, that's a look at that. I gotta say, I don't think that can be valid code anymore. This is quick guide win. Let's come in here to quick guide win and look at the blame timeline. Because this is line 474, give or take. Let's see when this happened. 474. Close enough. Okay, so this was all part of ad support for objectives that can be completed multiple times. Yes, this was a midsummer objective. Okay, that gives me what I needed. Let's come on in here and come look at midsummer. And this is quest objectives here. This looks like a good spot, and this is a problem. Yes. So caught a fish, and this looks like a good spot. MVP, I really enjoyed what you did with the further home, but you know, when the result is the same for each of the 4 fishing locations, makes it harder to track these things. All right, we did the same thing. We were destroying a done here, which meant if you unloaded and reloaded the plugin, same problem. Feels like we should, instead of having a parallel structure or 3, Let's go ahead and unload, and let's just delete that. Feels like we should have it in here. So not quick guides to use, but quick guide progress. So this is going to be, right, objectives, and targets. I don't know. I think I'm thinking too big here. Let's not worry about the other thing. Let's just create an issue and deal with it next midsummer. Reset button and save / load. Do not take multi-instance objectives into account. And what was our example for that? This looks like a good spot. We'll just do fishing for advice. C number 14 for similar problem with targets. I'm going to stare at the structure here for a minute. So right now we're just embedding done in these entries right here. What if I have a thought, but let's go ahead and see how much do we actually use targets in practice? Which festivals need this? Quick festival function. All right, so Farmers Faire, we know about that. Midsummer, we know about that. Spring, what's going on with spring? Right. Flower envy and the banners. What I'm thinking is that I would like this to exist, but I want it to be created, each entry to be created as needed. I think. And I think quick guide repeat objectives. I think I want to store it in something like this as well. So let's look at what the logic would be to go ahead and assign something here. And I think the answer is we want to have a helper function. Get target setting. And let's go ahead and bring that over here. so we know it's going to look something like return settings. All right. Festival, quick guide, and what? Index. All right, and we know that that is going to be this. Except we don't know that that's going to be that. So local setting equals that return setting. Except what we're not taking into account is it there? So if not that, then equals this end. And then the next level. If not this, then and then, oh, yeah. We're going to make a new table out of that. And then finally, we know those two are good, so this one can be good. Okay. And then to go with it, we want let's go ahead and add that in as well. Get setting and set setting. All right, so get setting is that. Set setting. Oh, right, we forgot to actually do this. Indeed. Okay, great. So, getting the setting was that. Setting the setting. We want to go ahead and create these. We want to create these. And then we can go ahead and say this, that equals setting. And there is no return. So, helper for getting setting values whose hierarchy may not exist. So setting table, festival, string, quick guide, number. What a great question. Looks like a number, looks like a string. And index is a number. Great, and we're returning a Boolean. Let's go ahead and do it in here as well. Helper for setting. Setting values whose hierarchies may not exist. All that's good, and then setting itself is a Boolean. Cool. So we need to actually use setting tables. Table, e.g. settings, targets. Yule. 1. Are these gonna render all right? Yeah, okay. Cool. So now that we have these helpers, let's make use of them. Git setting. Oops. So that's a quick guide target, selected festival, selected quick guide, and the index. Basically the same looking thing, except safer in the case that it doesn't exist. Except yeah, all right. If it's nil, it's nil. That's fine. What's not of nil? Yeah, we'll find out. And then we're gonna go ahead and set a setting. And that's going to be basically the same thing. That, this, that, oops, and that. Cool. Let's take a look at this. So we do want to come into Farmers Faire. And I want to have that quick guide open. Oh, I reset that too. Fair enough. And we're going to go ahead and just unselect a bunch of things from that quick guide. Boy, makes you think I should have a select all or something. And we're going to keep a market list. Okay, so first of all, let's save that. And take a look at target. We can see quick guide targets doesn't exist here. Let's go ahead and accept a market list because targets, these targets are only taken into account if we think the quest is active. Accept. And let's go ahead and do apple. Target. And bread. Target. Great. We're going to go ahead and write that out. And we can see now this is fleshed out. Perfect. Okay. That's what I wanted. I didn't want to have the whole structure there. Quick guide. We can see the quick guide progress is doing that. I am wondering if that makes sense now. So we're going to go ahead and okay. So for here, what we really are looking for is this. Great. So we can go ahead and say set setting, similar thing. And next one, this is going to be set. Cannot assign nil to parameter boolean. Good point. Does that look correct? Boolean or nil? That's not right. Is that a semicolon? All right, let's find out. Do a quick internet search for Lua annotation return multiple types. I guess the real question is what system are we using? Ah, is it a space between them? Maybe. Doesn't seem like it. Oh, that's why you don't do things combined like that. Local setting equals that. Result equals setting. There we go. Okay. What is this? It's a boolean or a nil. Fantastic. All right. Well, at least that worked. Now, I'm curious. Yeah, it still knows. Okay. Well, my first instinct was correct, but I had resisted the urge to split these up, and then I suffered for it. So, you know, first instinct would have been nice. We have a set, which is taking boolean or nil, set, and then this one is just going to be let's just make a helper function. Function clear settings table festival quick guide. You know what? Just copy that. And then we can say if not, then return, end. There is no clearing to do. If not this, then return. There's nothing to do. And then if select festival and select the quick guide. However, now we can go ahead and say this equals that. But since we don't need to keep the structure in there for anything assuming it's there, we can actually say it is nil. Great. Clear settings. Okay, at that point, all the references to this get set. We have a couple in older file formats, and that's fine. But that means this can also be simplified. So if we unload this and come into this file and delete that, and then come on into here, we can harvest math. Nope, Farmers Faire. Coming into the quick guide, and let's again simplify things a little bit. To where we only have one quest to consider, and go ahead and complete apple. Right. Market list. That's interesting. Let's document that as a thing to think about later. Manually checking off a chain begin does not set that quest as active. Okay, I don't know if that's an issue for right now. But if we go ahead and target that, unload and reload, all's good. Let's go ahead and reload that file. And then quick guides to use is all in there. And then quick guide targets, we only have the one. In fact, let's do a search on quick guide. Quick guide win, yeah. Quick guide targets, that's very concise. Quick guide progress. We can see that got created because we were in spring. Maybe a bit preemptively, but that's okay. And we only have Farmers Faire. So we have a less verbose file structure here. Okay. That being said, we can move on to... oh, we're already using targets. Great. The repeat objectives could be next. But right now, we want to go ahead and fail this quest. And then... oh. Yeah, quick guide window. That's a problem. Okay, so we can see the chain is nil. Yep. All right, we preemptively deleted those right lines, I guess. Turbine.shell.writeLine. And could actually really use a function to encapsulate this, but we don't. All right, accept. Index. Quest chain key and chain. Okay. Yeah, that would do it. Market list. Fail. Great. accept. All right, we're still documenting chain. Fail. Setting check state, setting check state. All right, we can comment that out for now. All right, fail and accept. Great. Let's go ahead and do Apple. That would be a reason to have objective and target be different, because I keep on wiping out quests. Oh, right. That's what we're trying to show here. So if we try to do apple, it's not going to work. If we do cheese, it will work. And that's because when we reset the progress, we didn't reset the corresponding setting. So now we have half solved the issue. So the save and load do not take multi-instance objective. Well, hang on a second. Save and load do not take the new target system into account. Let's go ahead and commit the fix here that does take into account. So let's go ahead and see what needs to be. So quick guides. Yep, we're going to add those. Not that, not that. Yes, this. It's a work in progress. Nope. And this. That is no. This is fine. That's all great. Nope. Yes and yes. So, target completion now saved. And I think, as much as I want to keep going on this, we're making really good progress, but time is marching on and time is getting away from me. So I think I'm going to try to finish up the resetability of this target so that when we hit the reset button or when we fail a quest, we wipe that save data out. And then once that's done, we're going to go ahead and bring this stream to a close. But if it doesn't happen on stream, we're going to do the same thing for the multiple targets, I think, somehow. That data is one level deeper, so we're going to see. But I think it'll be stored by the that index as well. So we'll be doing that next, but that's the general idea. I think we're going to be able to get both of those done for this next release. So target completion is now saved. Now saved in settings. And that was this. That was this. We didn't actually add a documentation for clear settings. We should do that while we're thinking about it. Okay, settings will look good. This is helper to remove or to clear settings for a quick guide. Settings for a quick guide that may not exist. And we're going to say settings for setting values for a quick guide is hard to make it not exist. For a quick guide whose hierarchy may not exist. Okay. Let's come back and grab those. So that's those three. This global's change, and here, that's great. Debug. Commit. So we're going to go ahead and grab that commit hash and go ahead and come document that. Save, load, fixed, and commit, blah. So the other half, the reset button. And that should be reset button / fail and save / load. Do not take it into account. Okay. So what we want to do is anytime we uncheck a box, we would like to trigger the uncompletion of its corresponding target, if any. So I think it's raining. Okay. It's been raining off and on here. I think it just started, and I don't remember if any windows are open. So, we have a desire when target, and I think targeting is all done here. Handle target changed. So, if we set this set, and we want to do the opposite. Now, theoretically, since we're setting the value to nil, it doesn't actually matter if we know there's a target or not. We could just set it blindly to nil and count on it being pruned on its way through the serializer. But it would imply the creation of that hierarchy that might not otherwise be there. So let's see what we can do about that. Tree node. Update node text? No. Node. Tree node, and we want this to be a function. There we go. Set node completion. If we are unchecking a target objective, clear the corresponding saved setting. Okay. If it's a target, then set the setting. So this is target, select a festival that so if not state and it's a target, then we're going to go ahead and do tree node dot index nil. Okay. But what we don't know is what that if statement looks like. So yeah, if not state, that's fine. And then do that end. That's fine. How do we know it's a target? We have the index, or we can have the index. So local index equals, no, that's fine there. Tree node index, and we'll use that here. And then how do we know? If we are looking at here, what we're really looking for is, do any of these have an index of that? Okay. Does quest have targets with require? That's the quest key. So we actually want something very similar to this. Okay. So we're going to iterate through all the targets, and then we need that index. If target dot index equals index, then local is target equals false, is target equals true, if not state, and is target. Cool. In theory, if I wrote that all correctly, this will load. Hey, no syntax errors. Love it. Let's go ahead and fail the quest. Nope, fail a market list. And then, oh, well, let's just see what that did. Right now, there's no targets. That's pretty exciting. Let's go ahead and a market list. Let's accept this and go ahead and do apple, target, and cheese. Target. We're going to unload this to save that out. And then target, we can see these are true. Great. And then if we come in here and fail a market list, awesome, those got deleted again. And now we can actually test it. So we're accepting a market list. Apple, we'll go ahead and target this. Cool. And then fail a market list, accept apple, target. And we can see all that works fine. Now, the one thing I don't know is what happens if we manually uncheck this. So we're going to bring those back. And then let's check out what targets look like. We can see 51 is true. We're going to uncheck this. Oh. Well, that's not good. Oh, I think I clicked the wrong button. Let's double check. Okay, so unchecking it did not fix the problem, but failing did. Yep, there it is. Okay, great. So a market list, accept, apple, target. Quick add targets is great, awesome. And then we need to sort out the checkbox. Check changed. Okay, checkbox check changed. Okay. Function. Unset target if index is unset target if necessary. Sure. Let's see what that would look like. We're gonna go ahead and hoist all of this so that we can use it in more than one place. We need an index, so we don't need that. We're gonna iterate through all these. Is target is true? That's local. Okay, so we only need that. So then we can say if not state, then unset target if necessary, tree node index. End. And then we don't need that. We don't need any of this. And then we can do the same thing from the unchecked. And that was checked changed. If checkbox if it's not checked, then end. And index is available locally, so we'll capture that in the lambda. Okay. Great. So just to double check, we have our target there. We're going to go ahead and manually unselect this. And it's gone. We're going to go ahead and manually select it. And it's not back. Okay. I mean, in that case, why not? Oh, it's the same reason when we're checking a thing. Yeah, okay. We're going to handle that later. Okay. Manually checking off chamber again, let's not do that. Manually checking off a target does not set that target as done. Let's see whatever number that was, number 18 for a related issue. And in general, it just seems like if we click on a node, we need to trigger whatever it was that was going to happen if we auto-detected that the node needs to complete. And that's probably doable. We just don't want to get into a feedback, infinite loop or anything. Cool. Okay. Well, we're not going to worry about that right now. Manually checking off, just don't do that. It'll be fine. We're going to reset, unload, load. We're going to do market list, make sure everything still works, and then onion target. Great. We're going to go ahead and remove completed items. And then we can go ahead and fail that market list. Actually, let's go check the save file. One of our cats can't find the other one and is complaining so loudly you might be able to hear it. We're going to fail that. And target is clear. Awesome. So everything's still working pretty well after that refactor. I'm going to go ahead and commit those changes and mark this as mark this as done and call it good. Wait, the reset button, did I test that? Let's double check. Okay. Onion and apple. We're going to go ahead and unload this and reload this and double check in here. We have our targets, and then we're going to reset, unload, and load, and we still have the targets. Okay. So this change only affects fails. Okay. In fact, I'm not going to commit that one yet. Oh, did I accidentally commit that before? 535? Let's go check. Whoops. All right, well, we need all of that. And the rest of this is not. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and commit that and push it out. So we can take that commit hash over here and say that failing quest fixed failing to reset target data fixed in commit blah. So we still need a reset button to clear out that data as well. What does the reset do? Clear completed. Okay, so we can just quick guide targets. I think it is. Let's come on over here to globals, quick guide targets. Yep. You know what? Let's just quick guide repeat objectives while we're at it. Okay. So let's double check that that is working as expected. So we're going to come in. We have targets here. Nice. So if we hit reset and unload, targets is now empty. Okay. So we're going to stage that. Resetting guide. Now clears settings target data. And one more. Okay. Oh, forgot to grab the commit hash. Reset, or clearing target data fixed in that. So, reset button / fail and save / load do not take the new target system into account. Closed. Great. And specifically, that was a problem for fail. Margaret, multi-instance objectives I'm not worried about for this festival because it's only in midsummer so far. But I do want to add maps descriptions, so I'm going to close that. Maps descriptions for all Farmers Faire quests, that's still there, and update barter item list. So I'm going to be doing those over the next day or two and push out a release hopefully before next week. And then we'll be looking at some of those issues we didn't get to today. All right. Well, just to get double checking, and yeah, that's everything we are going to cover today. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration of LOTRO plugins. I hope to see you all here next week, and until then, enjoy the Farmers Faire and keep plugging along. All right, bye-bye now.